I'm that one kind of nerdy guy, and today I'm going to show you my new favorite way of making YouTube thumbnails. So here we are on my phone, and you might be curious as to why we're going to be doing this on a phone, and that's because my new favorite way to make YouTube thumbnails is on my phone. I have an Android phone, and I love to use an app called Pixel Lab. I'm pretty sure it's also available for iPhone, so if you have iPhone, you can do this too. So first, let's get started by opening up Pixel Lab. So when you open up Pixel Lab, this is what it's going to look like. Me personally, when I make thumbnails, I like to use a screenshot from the video that I made and then use that as the background and then add text over top of that. So to do that, I tap on the three little dots in the upper right hand corner. Now I can go to use image from gallery because I always take these screenshots and just send them to my gallery. Once you select the image, you'll be prompted to put in an aspect ratio of what you want your picture to look like. Since we're doing YouTube thumbnails, you should do 16:9. And you can also crop out a little bit. I'm cropping this just a tiny bit because in the I don't know if you can see it very well, but in the left hand corner of the image, you can see some text that must have been overlaying from the game. So I'm just going to resize it a little bit to get those words out of the shot. And then I'm going to press on the check mark. Now the background's been changed. I'm going to go through some other settings, but first I'm going to set up this image how I want to do it for the thumbnail I'm going to make. So the next thing I notice is that the background image is kind of dark. So I'm going to go over to the wand in the bottom left hand corner, or the bottom right hand corner. And now I have all of these options that I can choose from. I can add a vignette to it, and I can enable that, but I can't see it with black since the image is already dark, but I could do white, red, not purple, pink, and then if I don't like any of those colors, I can choose any of these ones, any that my heart desires. But I don't want to do a vignette, so I'm just going to hit on the exit. On top of vignette, you can also add noise to the image, but I don't want noise on my image. And then you could add stripes. And then brightness, contrast, hue, and saturation. Because this image is a little dark, I'm just going to make it a little bit brighter. Alright, that's maybe not a little bit, quite a bit. But anyway. And then I'm going to hit the check mark. Since I increased the brightness, it looks a little off. So I'm going to increase the contrast too, so it looks better. When I increase the contrast, it kind of evens itself out with the brightness. So it looks better. So I'm just going to hit check mark on that, but I want to increase the brightness just a little more to see if I can get it even better. Turns out I put the brightness on 100. But anyway. And then I'm just going to put contrast a little bit higher. I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to hit the check mark. And then on top of that, you can do hue, but I really don't want hue, so I'm just going to hit the reset button that's right in between the check mark and the X. I'm going to hit the X. And I can also saturate the image, but I really don't want to do that either. So I'm just going to hit the reset button and hit the X. So now, let's see what we've done. So far, the only thing that's happened is I have a new background. I can tap on the text and move it out of the way of the main image. And then if that little curved symbol right underneath of the text, I can press on that. And then just, if my finger gets it, and then I can just move it so it rotates it. But I really don't want it rotating. I'm just going to keep that horizontal. The next thing I do is I usually edit what the text says. So now I'm going to tap on the A and hit the edit button. So now I can just type in whatever I want to say. And for this, I'm probably going to do, let's see, maybe getting Monster Hunter World to work in Ubuntu Linux. And then hit OK. And now you notice it was too much text, so it brings it off the screen. But no worries, I can just drag this up, and then I can resize it by pressing on the corner and then just dragging it down. And I can also move the sides of it to make it wider, which I definitely want to do since I have all this real estate over here. So now I can edit a bunch of other settings to the text. I could delete it, I can copy it and make another one. I could do to front, to back, position. It lets me change it by pressing on the up and down buttons, but I don't really see a point in that just because you can, drag it with your finger unless you want to be very precise with it. Relative position, it lets you choose where the text is going to go relative to the sides of the screen. So if you hit this one, it's going to go in the middle. This one's going to be left aligned. This one's going to be right aligned, which is probably what I'm going to choose. This one can be aligned with the bottom, and this one can be aligned with the middle. So I'm probably going to do, let's see, probably top right aligned. That's probably what I want. Size, just change the size of the text. Padding is just going to change the space between the letters and the corners of it. If I drag left padding, it goes further to the left, and if I want right padding, it's going to go further to the right. But I don't want any of these, so I'm going to hit reset. Color, you can change the color of the text, and just like what I showed you before, if you don't like any, you can do this. Pretty much any option here that has the option to change color has the exact same layout. I'm just going to hit exit on that because I like the way it is so far. Texture, you can actually select an image from your gallery and it'll overlay that over the letters. So if I choose this penguin, you can't really see it because the letters are so skinny, but faintly you can see that the penguin is now there. And I don't really want this, so I'm just going to hit delete so there's no picture, and then I'm going to hit the check mark. Opacity makes how visible it is. I want it at 100, but you can have a fading effect if you want. Rotate just rotates the text, kind of self-explanatory. And then mask, you can put a mask over it to hide some parts of the image. And I don't want to do this, I'm going to cancel the operations. It'll ask you if you want to. I'm like, yep, I want to. Font, now this is where you change the font style. There's a whole bunch of different options that they have for you. I personally like meme font. That's the one I usually go with, so I hit OK. Style, it's pretty much bold, italicized, or underline. I don't want to do any of those, so I'm just going to hit back. Curve lets you curve the letters. Background gives it a background for just the letters, like this. With that, you can also choose a padding of the background and a radius if you wanted to make it more circular, but I don't want that either. Align lets you align the text relative to where they are in the box. So if I wanted to left align them, this is how it would be, center align or right align. It's actually not that bad looking. I think I might keep that. Yeah, so I'm going to keep that. I'm just going to hit check mark. And I actually do want a background. I'm going to have a background, make it black. As you can see, the background is slightly opaque. Spacing lets you either space out the words or letters. If I space out the letters, it makes it fuller like that, and I might just keep that. I think I like that. Line spacing should be kind of self-explanatory. If I do this, it stretches it out, but I don't really want that. So I'm probably just going to hit reset to where it was before and hit check mark. Stroke kind of gives it like an outline over the letters. You can see white makes it really hard to read. So I just usually keep this on black. Shadow gives a shadow effect to all the letters, which I normally like. If I do this, I also usually select black for this. Inner shadow is like shadow, but it's on the inside of the text. And I usually do a white inner text. In my opinion, it makes the letters pop a little bit more. Now emboss kind of just gives you a lighting effect on it. I usually don't use this. Now perspective, it'll let you change the text to make it maybe, popping out a little bit. So if I enable it and I drag the corners, I can make it come out like that and back like that. Make it really crazy looking. But I don't want to do that either. So I'm just going to hit X. 3D rotate. It rotates the image like so. I could flip it like this. And this same exact way with the Y-axis. But I don't want to do that either. So I'm going to hit reset on that. 3D text. I can make the letters 3D. Either perspective or oblique. It's kind of hard to see with the background I have going on, but the perspective one is 3D, but you can see it more with this. I don't like that, so I'm just going to hit exit here. Third shadow puts a shadow underneath of it. It's like a shadow for the letters if it was coming down. At least that's what I think. Reflection does exactly that. It reflects the letters downwards, but I don't like that either. It sounds like I don't like a lot of things, but no, it's actually pretty great. Now, if you want to import images over this, you hit the symbol to the right of the A, and you just hit import right there, and you can select any image. I'm going to select this penguin right here, and I can now. This is the cropping tool. I don't want it to take up the whole lot of space. I guess it doesn't matter though, just because it's a transparent. But I guess it's a habit. So I hit check mark and it adds it into the image, and I can drag that and it will not mess these other things up. To make doubly sure that these won't move, you can hit this button right here and you can lock the position of them. So I like where the letters are, so I want to lock them into position. And I'm not done moving the Linux penguin around. I'm going to resize him a little bit more. Probably going to have him sitting right down here. I don't like that rotate. I just want him sitting right up. Now I'm happy with that, but I'm also going to add the Ubuntu symbol. I'm not going to crop that because it's already pretty full. It's just going to hit check mark, resize it down a little bit. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Now, if you do not mean to do something, you can press the back arrow right next to the trash can, and it'll undo it. Now, I'm going to resize it to a size that I really want. And then just drag it right down here. And now there's only one more thing I want to add to this image. And it's the Monster Hunter logo. I'm not going to crop that, just going to import it. But I will resize. Oh, damn. Need to hit edit. I didn't lock that into place. Should lock the penguin into place too. But Monster Hunter World, now I'm going to resize this. It's not that bad, in my opinion. Now this is just a quick way on how to make a thumbnail on your phone, which is, it's really convenient. And so there it is. That's a pretty quick way to make a thumbnail. It's easy. I like this app because there are ads, but the ads don't show up until you save the image, either to your gallery or to a file on your phone. There's another app that I heard of that people can use to make thumbnails for YouTube. I think it's actually called Thumbnail Maker or something like that. But I tried that out. I did not like it because while I was trying to work, I just kept getting these pop-ups right while I was doing stuff, and it was really annoying. But Pixel Lab doesn't do that. They wait until you save the image to inject their ads. But there's a whole bunch of other things you can do with it. It's a really nice app, and I highly recommend it if you are someone who makes YouTube videos. I'm just gonna save this now. Save it as an image. Now the quality is at default. I usually leave it at default just because I don't know how big the image is gonna get. I know there's a restriction to how big of a file you can submit for a thumbnail, so I usually just do default. It doesn't have to be super high res. I mean, you can try, do it if you want, go crazy. So I'm just going to hit save to the gallery, and now it's saving my image. And there's one of those annoying ads. After I save it as an image, I'm also going to save it as a project. I'm just going to do mhw_thumb. I'm going to hit OK. Yeah, before I could even say it, I was going to say that I was going to get another ad. So whenever you save it, you get new ads. But there's just a ton of other things you can do with this. Like if you want to have a grid line to space things out properly, you can add that. You can zoom into it if you want. You can share it afterwards. I'm not going to share it. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, please like it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And have a great day.